Watch this.
Number 71 was a special one. Teammates and opponents remember the impact of a fallen Idaho hockey hero and what he did for the sport and community here in the Gem State. How the Idaho Steelheads are celebrating the life of Lance Galbraith. Looking back on the year that was 2022, transforming Mountain Home one coat of paint at a time, why a group of artists are working on a community canvas. As if going to the dentist office wasn't already nerve-wracking, being on the naughty or nice list takes on a whole new meaning. We check in with Santa Claus, who moonlights as a dentist during the days before Christmas. We have such an exciting half hour to get into, and why don't we just start with this, some good news. The Boise Bicycle Project is getting ready to give bikes away to kids this weekend, but it wasn't without a big help from you, our community at home. We told you about this a few weeks ago, but last week we heard from the executive director of Boise Bicycle Project, Jimmy Halliburton, about how many more bikes they needed to help meet the needs of the children this year. The organization exceeded the number of bikes needed, thanks in part to you and our community. So all the kids that need one, they're going to get a bicycle. So tomorrow morning at the Boise Bicycle Project headquarters, those dream bikes as they're called, they'll be given away to kids who drew pictures of what they're hoping for in terms of a set of wheels. Along with the new bikes, they'll get helmets and they'll get some lights and get some locks, and of course a safety lesson will be offered to all the kids there. But a really great community effort. This always makes such a big difference. These kids love the bicycles this time of year, so it's going to be great. And for us personally, covering the giveaway event is so cool, seeing those kids, some for the first time, ride a bike. It's just very heartwarming. So we're hoping to tell you a little bit more about that in the days to come. But thank you so much to everyone that donated and was able to help make that happen. Have you heard about the latest ban in the state of Idaho? This is a good one. Governor Brad Little is banning TikTok on state-issued devices and networks. In a press release, Governor Little said that he is doing this to protect Idahoans from the security threats posed by the communist Chinese government. So away with TikTok. Little also said in part of his statement, quote, "The communist Chinese government can use TikTok to collect critical information from our state and federal government, and we are taking this step to protect Idahoans and Americans from the sinister motives of a foreign government that does not share our values and seeks to weaken and manipulate our country." That's what the governor said. He says that this new ban to eliminate TikTok from state-issued devices and networks will help protect national security and Idahoans' data. So, state-issued devices, they will not even be able to download the app, which might get the members at the State House to focus better, right? Nah, they're not on TikTok. But by the way, if you're wondering if you have a state-issued device, you can't even be on the internet with it. So no more TikTok for state-issued devices. You don't have to do that on your personal time. And some exciting news, speaking of technology, for researchers at the University of Idaho. This is really cool. A supercomputer called Falcon is now available to staff and students. And the supercomputer is based at the Idaho National Laboratory in Idaho Falls. This is really cool. Check it out. The computer offers more than 10 times the processing power of any academic group in the region, putting your PC or Mac to shame. Sorry, you can't probably compete with this, but the Collaborative Computing Center is managed in partnership with the INL and the U of I, and Falcon, the supercomputer, as you're looking at here, it can perform, you ready for this? 1 quadrillion calculations per second. Again, 1 quadrillion calculations per second. Text in if you know how many zeros are in quadrillion. Anyways, in addition to accelerating research, they tell us that the added resource will help the INL in its mission to train and educate the future energy workforce with its partnership with the University of Idaho. Well, some people just leave their mark on a community. It's hard to explain, but some people, they just have it, and it connects with people. And one of those it people in the Boise area from over the last few years, Idaho Steelhead great Lance Galbraith. And Boise is a hockey town. We all know that. The packed crowd at Steelhead home games will tell you this. Such passion at those games. Well, Lance Galbraith, he embodied what it means to be a hockey player and an Idaho Steelhead. And many of you have heard the tragic news from earlier this year. Galbraith passed away after a car crash in Ontario, Canada. When the news broke back in April, the response was devastation from the hockey and Idaho community. And by hockey community, I really mean across North America. On and off the ice, Galbraith did a lot for his communities, whether he was in Idaho or in Ottawa. Now, this weekend, the Idaho Steelheads will solidify his legacy and his contributions to the community in a permanent fashion.
Kanopka turning, centers it, Kopechki shot through traffic, puck is still loose, Galbraith shot, and it's gone!
Idaho Steelhead fans still share the legends of franchise great Lance Galbraith.
DeLille steps out, they score!
His work speaks for itself.
One-timer, missed everything, rebound chance, they score! It's Lance Galbraith!
Tomorrow we're going to retire Lance Galbraith's jersey, who was, heart and soul of two of our championship teams. It's kind of bittersweet. Unfortunately, he passed away tragically in a car accident. But we've got a lot of players that came back and played with him, are going to be here, and the fans. He was a fan favorite all the time. Nickname was a Rooster.
Eric Trapp is president of Idaho Sports Properties. He worked with and watched Lance for many years. He'll be the first to tell you about the legend of Lance.
Just kind of had that game. If you think about it, a Rooster, he was that type of guy, kind of a pain in the butt to the visiting team, but a heart and soul guy that everybody loved him on his team, and was the guy that stood up for you and just was in the mix of everything, scoring and defensively, and just a guy you wanted in the trenches, no doubt.
As you mentioned, a fan favorite, the big part of that, the 2007 run to the Kelly Cup. You led the team in goals. He's also the all-time leader in penalty minutes for the Steelheads. I mean, he's a guy that, when you're looking on the ice, everyone knows which guy Lance is.
No doubt. I mean, everybody's looking for him, and he's easy to spot. He had a personality, he was bigger than life, and you could see that on the ice and off the ice. But, it's integral in our first championship in '04, which was the very first big one that we got, and then it came back in '07 and did the same thing. So lucky to have him on both those teams. But that's the type of person, like that is a heart and soul, is not going to back down from anybody, and is going to stick his nose right there in front of the goalie and be in there taking all the bumps and bruises from people in the corners, and that's what you need if you're going to have championship hockey. You got to have those guys that have grit.
Scott Burt was teammates with Galbraith in Idaho during those Kelly Cup championship seasons. He now coaches for the Rapid City Rush, who the Steelheads will play this weekend. He explains, Galbraith is a teammate and a friend you can never forget.
Well, I can tell you this, it's the electricity that flows through here is unbelievable. The passion that the fans have.
Burt remembers a favorite moment while the pair took the ice together in Alaska.
He is a special player. Or he was a special person, first and foremost. He was a player and a person that everyone wanted to be around. He was the life of the party, and he was the life of the party on the ice. It was everything kind of rolled around Lance, and him and his. He probably wasn't the smoothest skater out there, but he got it done. And any kind of scrum or any kind of battle, Lance was in the middle of it. It continued on. Him and I were together, and we're here for a couple of years, and then he came up with me to Alaska for a few years there too. So we had a good run up there where we lost in Game 7 in the finals up there. So, but he was magical. He was a good friend. And a good teammate.
Galbraith's name and number will watch over the Steelheads as it's sent to the rafters amongst the all-time great Idaho Steelheads.
It was at the end of a period, and I was going after a guy, and all of a sudden I look over to my right, and here's Lance coming over top. I said, "What are you doing?" when we got back to the dressing room, and he says, "Well, if you're going to go, I'm going to go, and if I'm going to go, you're going to go, so we might as well go together." So it was pretty special that way, but just being around, he was really tight with myself and my wife, and being up there, and then being here, he was always at our house, and it was just, he was just that special guy, and he'll always be a part of me. He would do anything for a teammate. He would do anything for the crest and the front. It didn't matter. And hockey players talk about it all the time. We don't play for the name on the back. You play for the name on the crest. And he was that guy. He did anything, and it took anything. It didn't matter if he wasn't playing in a certain situation. He wanted to still be out there. It was really crazy. Like I said, he was very special. He was a very special person. On and off the ice, and a good friend, and this is an unbelievable achievement for him, even though he's not here. What the Steelhead organization is doing to remember him is huge.
A lot of the players that played with him, it's gonna be hard for them on the ice. You tear up. Because he's not here.
hoisting the cup, I remember in Dayton, you know, just being out there where it was Lance, myself, and Hazy and BC, the guys who won 2 cups, and very special picture with that. His grandpa and his dad being there was pretty awesome. He's very close with his family, and it was good to see. You know, and they were here. They came to both championships, so they got an opportunity to see him hoist the cup twice with us here.
The Idaho Steelheads will retire Lance Galbraith's jersey, number 71, tomorrow night before they face the Rapid City Rush at the Idaho Central Arena at 7:10 p.m. Our next story might seem familiar. That's because we're looking back at our favorite stories of 2022, the 7 days of the 208. Public art probably isn't the first thing that comes to mind when we mention Mountain Home, but local artists are hoping to change that. Let's hear your impressions with the show and anything we've had this year or today. Tell us about it. Text us, 208-321-5614. You can call or text anytime, but please be sure to include your name and hashtag the 208. And yes, we'll be getting to some of these live at the end of the show. Well, welcome into the 208 living room. I'm the one that's home today. Brian will be back soon. But anyways, we just have 6 more episodes of the 208 left for the year. And this week and next week, we are looking back on some of our and your favorites as we've covered them throughout 2022. So, back in June, photojournalist Kevin Esslinger spent some time in the Mountain Home area documenting the transformation of the Air Force town. And for the last 7 years, local artists have been working on what they're calling a community canvas. It's a collection of more than 160 murals throughout the city of Mountain Home. And just in the last year, they've added another 20. Kevin spent a few hours in Mountain Home one night and talked with 4 of those artists to get a better sense of what this makeover means for the Idaho desert town.
You're not getting paid to do it, so you're doing it just to do it. And you're doing it for the fact of like just sharing your artwork. It's nice because it's such a small town. People would never think that we would have this many murals everywhere.
I've never done anything like this. I usually do watercolor, but this is one that I decided this was my year and I wanted to do something new. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. My name is Amanda Rose, and this is called Draw the Stars. It's 1,200 square feet. It's about 20 feet tall and 60 feet wide. It's the biggest mural of the season. No, actually, I was so excited. I was like, let's start now. But I had to wait until it was time to start. So, no, I really enjoy all of it. This is day 5, and I work full time. So I just come in after work and just get it done.
I just come in whenever I have time, like before work, usually in the mornings. I'm Kiana Grover. It's supposed to be an eye, and then there's going to be a hand reaching out, and there'll be a jar that it's holding, and then there'll be like smoke and stuff coming out of the jar. I did it largely based on the wall, I chose the eye based on the fact that the window was right here. I think it's awesome that everybody's like making Mountain Home prettier, and I think it's a lot of fun to do, and I think it really improves the town. I just like the idea of leaving my art somewhere public, you know? And it's just a learning experience too. And I just like painting, so it's a win-win.
I really like using these type of colors. I've been recently experimenting with like different types of colors like this so I can study like shadows and lights better. Well, my name is Zoe Burbank, and my mural is here to represent any of our best friends or pets who passed away, and they're here as a remembrance so that we still love them in our hearts forever. Because I recently lost 2 pets, and I was originally going to do it as a tribute towards them specifically, but I changed the colors and on these 2 pets to be more neutral and just plain so that anyone could picture their pets there, and this will be like a memorial towards them. I think my least favorite part about painting on the wall is all the little holes that you have to fill in. It kind of destroys your brush in the process. But it looks so pretty once you're done doing it. Oh yeah, I love it so far.
All of my paintings right now, you kind of have to really stop and stare in order to figure out what's going on, because there's so many different things happening. My name is Brianna Strom, and for this mural, it was a tribute for Salvador Dali. I think the hardest part with painting murals is filling in all of the cracks of the wall. It's like painstaking. And then you think you're done and you're not done. This one's really clunky. Probably the clunkiest paint I've ever seen. Oh yeah, it's like some sludge. It adds a good texture. Gotta live by Bob Ross sometimes, even when you're painting Salvador Dali. It'll look good, just trust the process. But I think murals is my favorite, just because it's so large scale.
Community Canvas is such a great organization too, to be able to put art all over and be part of Idaho's mural capital. It's been a very empowering experience. So I look forward to doing more things with them. And I will definitely be doing it again.
And you can find those murals throughout the Mountain Home area. There's a map of the locations of some of the artwork that you can go check out. It's good to know that you can go check them out tonight, but if you don't want to go out in the freezing cold, we don't blame you. You can take a look on a warmer night. All right, the 208 returns after this. The dentist office isn't always the most fun place to spend time, but one orthodontist office added an incentive heading into the Christmas season. It looks like Santa Claus went back for his DDS. That's right, Santa was moonlighting right here in Boise in a dentist's office. John Miller has the proof in today's 208 Redial.
Could we be this deep in a recession? I mean, even Santa's pulling 2 jobs.
Run a cross elastic, Shelley.
Maybe a few teeth.
Well, you know, everybody wants to be Santa.
Right.
But Santa always wanted to be an orthodontist.
Oh, is that
And
how?
here's his chance. And just have her run a nice cross elastic from the lingual of the lower 4-6 to the buccal of the upper 3-5.
Actually, Santa Claus, who sometimes goes by Dr. John Matunis, is giving kids sort of a 2-for-1 deal.
What are you looking for Christmas?
As PlayStation, Sony PlayStation 2.
Yeah, they get to unload that Christmas list and get their teeth fixed.
This month only.
Jeez.
And the elves are busy with hemostats and distal end cutters.
They're easily trainable. They like what they do. They smile. They jingle when they walk.
Right.
And the kids seem to love them.
Santa pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what's Santa Ortho giving as gifts this year?
We're giving candy canes.
Which seemed a bit odd for a jolly old orthodontist. Yeah. What's the deal? You're always handing out candy canes.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm actually in cahoots with the dentist.
Oh, I see.
And by helping them out, they're more apt to send referrals because I'm giving candy to these kids and more likely for decay.
It's an inside job.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's a good old boy network, just like everyone expected.
Still, Santa's giving out holiday cheer by the mouthful.
And nice smiles.
Jack Smith's even came a little early. It's a Christmas miracle.
Yes, it is.
Courtesy of Dr. Santa Claus, DDS.
And, well, I have a feeling, well, he's going to probably do it again next year.
John Miller.
Merry Christmas.
Idaho's News Channel 7.
So we now know that Santa Claus, or as he's better known as John Matunis locally, he continued the tradition of Santa's team taking care of teeth for a while. But Matunis says that the outfit was handmade by his mother-in-law. The beard and wig were upgraded several times. And I know what you're thinking. Matunis says to his recollection, the beard actually never ended up in anyone's mouth. Maybe other than his, but he says the whole idea spawned from visiting an assisted living community after collecting donations for Christmas gifts for residents one year. We spoke with Matunis this week. Here's what he has to say.
Well, my mother-in-law made the outfit for me, so I thought, well, I'll dress up as Santa. I'll take all the gifts over there to the care center, and then we'll distribute them. Well, they also had a daycare center there, and that was equally fun because when you're under the age of 7 and you see Santa, you are excited. And so for us, it was fun to go over there and see both the kids at the daycare center and then the adults who were living there. Probably more than 5 years, 5 to 7, something like that. And after that time, it became a little bit of burdensome as I got better beards and wigs. They were a little difficult and heated to work in all day long. So what I did then is I would just go to places when people would ask me to dress that way, but to that particular facility for about 5 or so years.
And Matunis retired from dental practice last year. Now he enjoys fly fishing, spending time with his wife, and of course, donning the red suit, only on special occasions. Comments are back right after this. All right, friends, programming note for you. As we mentioned in our broadcast, next week, Monday through Friday, will be the last 5 episodes of the 208 for the rest of the calendar year. We'll be back in January. But the 208 team, they're taking the last week of December off. So any comments, questions, anything you want to get in before the end of the year, you got to do it next week because then it's over for the year. But let's take a look at some of these comments here. What do we got? This person says, it's 15 zeros. Now I understand why I was a math major in high school. Susan Ellen Meridian. Yes, thank you, Susan. I asked how many zeros were in quadrillion. So now we know it is 15 zeros. There it is. This person says they should rename the computer Deep Thought, and every answer is 42. Just kidding. The computer sounds pretty cool. That's Cody in Caldwell. Thank you, Cody. And then this person says, is this the 208? Ah, yes. You can tell it's the 208 by the way it is. All right. We'll see you on Monday.